किसान मेंस क्रिकेट सितंबर 2023 से सितंबर 2024, एक ओडीआई वर्ल्ड कप ग्रुप स्टेज एग्जिट, एक T20 वर्ल्ड कप ग्रुप स्टेज एग्जिट, दो टेस्ट सीरीज लॉसेस, दो डिफरेंट चेयरमैन, थ्री डिफरेंट कैप्टन्स, and don't know how many selection committees and coaches in between. You can see so many colors on the screen here as well. So by now, I guess you might have uh, um, gauged the agenda of the show. आज हम पाकिस्तान मेंस क्रिकेट सितंबर 2023 से सितंबर 2024 का रिव्यू करने लगे. We will be doing a monologue in between us, and we will be having a general, full freeway conversation. And in case you want to hear about women's cricket, we did a media review show around July, myself with Sakina, so you can check it on the link here. Now let me introduce you to the cast for this podcast now. Emad from 30 Yard Circle, and of course, a wonderful figure from Karachi. So, Emad, thank you so much for joining.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm really excited for this. I'm sure it will have a lot of emotions, but then also a lot of nuance in this. We try to rationalize it.
Yeah, well put, well put. And of course, our brand new signing. By time this particular podcast goes out, you might have seen one or two videos from Talha on the oversight. So, Talha, welcome. I understand कि अपने बंदे हो आप तो. How are you doing in general?
Thank you for the introduction, and I'm doing great. Looking forward to this show because it's been a very intense period as a Pakistani fan, and probably like the viewers seeing me wearing blue and Emad wearing green probably saw this as like India versus Pakistan.
Okay,
Or
let's
maybe
see how
I'll be the critical one and Emad will be the more sympathetic one.
Let's see how doomy and gloomy this podcast gets, because as I am wearing the black shirt, there have been so many black days for past for past 12 months, to correct myself. And of course, viewers, you can engage in. Please free to enjoy. थोड़ी लंबी podcast होगी. इतनी भी नहीं, but have a cup of tea. Or
So we were heading into this into the Asia Cup with the thought that our ODI team is totally well set. Our bowling attack is great with Haris Rauf, Naseem Shah, and obviously Shaheen Shafi. हमारी यही thought थी कि he is our best bowler at that point. And उसके अलावा our batting as well. I remember Imamul Haq उस point पे जो है was scoring runs. We knew about the short ball wali problem, but we didn't see that as much big of an issue. इतना ज़्यादा rise up नहीं हुआ था ये Twitter पे. And then इसके अलावा we had Salman Ali Agha doing great for the ODI side. We had some issues about the spin. Spinners are not taking the wickets, but we had the idea that fast bowlers are going to take the wickets and spinners are going to do the holding role. But the Asia Cup comes. We have a great start by defeating Nepal as expected, but then the India game, the important game, उसमें आके we bowl genuinely well. Middle overs में जाके हम थोड़ा सा issue कर देते हैं, but then with the way we bowl with the new ball and with the old ball, our hopes rise up even more. And 260 पे all out कर देते हैं, and then the game gets rained out. I think it's very normal for games to get rained out. But then the curse starts. That we start losing games out of nowhere, and then उसके बाद जो we go on to lose Naseem Shah. Haris Rauf बीच में gets an injury, so there's this weird cloudy situation कि both of our bowlers out. उसके बाद फिर we have obviously I'm going to make this quick. We go on to into this World Cup in a very gloomy way, as Pakistan normally goes into world events, and then but then Pakistan didn't perform the way they usually perform in world events, which is rather good. Expectations से ज़्यादातर बेहतर करते हैं, and that was the thing in the T20 World Cups that happened in the previous years too. And then we go out, and then उसके बाद we have the England वाली series, and right, England वाली series हुई थी ना. Okay, no, never mind, never mind. I'm sure Australia का tour होता. Yeah. At the same time, we have massive administration issues. We have our captain selector thrown under the bus out of nowhere. एक controversy पूरी rise up होती है, very fabricated जो नजर आ रहा था उसी point पे साया वाली controversy just for the chairman to get his own light essentially. और फिर उसके बाद जो there's this series of chairmen who are changed. The captain resigns, and I think it was a good tenure that he had, and then he resigned. But then eventually, out of nowhere, Babar Azam is appointed the captain again, and Shaheen को नहीं बताया जाता कि उसका क्या हटाने का reason है. Same goes with the fans. Fans को भी नहीं पता कि क्या हो रहा है. And then Shaheen wants to come out with a statement. वो भी नहीं हो पाता. The team is absolutely in a disarray. But we still have the hope that Pakistan always rises up in certain occasions. इस तरह के. But then the T20 World Cup is horrible, and that is where the players are at fault. We can see we can say कि toxic work environments say that has an effect on everyone. But there were moments जब हम बिल्कुल जो set थे games जीतने के लिए, and we didn't. We made some very crucial mistakes. उसके बाद there's this test series we had the idea कि Australia we lost 3-0, but it was a rather better 3-0 loss than the other losses. So we have that hope कि चलो test side सही है. श्रीलंका में भी अच्छा perform किया था last year under Grant Bradburn. But then वो भी जो है we totally misread everything. We have horrible tactics. So it's yeah, these times are very sad as Pakistan cricket fans. But at the same time, it's very confusing. कि मसला क्या है? Is it really the toxic work environment that have got into the heads of the players and the management? And I think Usman Samiuddin's article that got published today really portrays the disarray that Pakistan cricket is in. He puts in numbers के through article लिखा है कि eight coaches have been changed. 13 selectors have been there. These are a few examples, but yeah. So what my takeaway would be that it is sad, but it is extremely confusing at the same time, which makes it even worse. You don't even know कि मसला क्या है.
Right. Nice to hear from you. Okay, Imad, I want to come back towards a few talking points. तला आप भी chip in कर लेना बाद में. जब आपने बात की T20 वर्ल्ड कप 2024 के राइट, तब आपकी जो आपकी मेजर बात थी वो थी कि प्लेयर्स पे ज़्यादा ब्लेम जाता है. So after all those numbers we have talked, after all those conspiracies, do you think players are the big major reasons to blame for that particular stage exit? It was supposed to happen. We were kind of living in delusional state.
Okay, so I think players का जो मैंने fault का कहा था, it was specifically towards certain matches and certain situations T20 World Cup में. But generally, I think I do think कि जो अगर आपका बॉस जो हर 2 दिन बाद चेंज हो रहा हो एंड आपके उसके ऊपर की सारी पे स्टाफ चेंज हो रहा हो, तो प्लेयर्स के लिए बहुत ज़्यादा मुश्किल है मैनेज करना. The only good thing in this whole time has been PSL. That's it. That's the only good thing about Pakistan cricket in this whole time. And maybe women's cricket में जो they performed rather well Sri Lanka में, Asia Cup में. But इसके अलावा the Usman Samiuddin once again raises this idea कि if Abdullah Shafiq is having problems right now in Test cricket, who does he turn to? Because if he turns to the current batting coach, उसे नहीं पता कि वो प्रोग्रेस जब तक वो प्रोग्रेस अपना शो करने के लिए आएगा, तब तक बैटिंग कोच उसका चेंज भी हो चुका. So yeah.
All right. तला आपके क्या टेकअवे थे इमाद के मोनोलॉग्स?
Yeah, he mentioned that the only bright spot was the PSL. That's only because Islamabad won. But in all seriousness, I do agree with his final analysis. Okay, if an organization doesn't have structural integrity, doesn't have like a clear plan, it doesn't have stability, then it's going to crumble, and it's going to crumble from the top down. मतलब कि आप बोर्ड की मैनेजमेंट से लेके ग्रास रूट्स क्रिकेट तक everything is going to fall apart if there is no stability, if there is no seriousness at the top of the pyramid to have stability, basically to have a clear plan of action and to have competence.
The quick questions है Emad से, या shall we move on?
Yeah, we can move on.
Okay, all right. Move on करते हैं Talha. You will take center stage. Let's see. Emad was kind of neutral. I think I haven't got that much gloomy, but have your say.
So if I had to sum up the past year for the Pakistan men's cricket team, I would turn to a quote from Batman. You either die as a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. And I think ये perfectly quote men's cricket पे apply हो सकती है, because at the beginning of this horror year, basically everyone in the team was a hero for the fans because they were playing at their best. They were giving us a reason to cheer for them, to support them, to be passionate. And as the year went on, for various reasons that I'll expand on, they slowly became, well, if not outright villains, then pretty close to it. क्योंकि अभी fan base भी इतनी polarize हो गई है, इतनी disappoint हो के, that the it's kind of like a rot that spreads from the team onto the fans, because you can see divisions within the team, you can see different personal agendas, you can see like the lack of seriousness at times, and all that is going to spread onto the fan base as well. So as Emad mentioned, obviously there are structural reasons, there are more systemic reasons than just the players themselves. जब बोर्ड में कोई स्टेबिलिटी नहीं है, कोचेस चेंज होते रहते हैं, कैप्टन चेंज होते रहते हैं, तो a team cannot progress and cannot be consistent. So I think that Afghanistan series was probably the last time we saw some stability within the team, even though उस वक्त भी एक दो changes हुए थे, chairman, coach and selectors के, but the group of players was the same, the captain was the same, and it reflected in the results. So as soon as the organizational changes happened, Zaka Ashraf came in, the coaches, selectors changed multiple times. ये coincidence नहीं है कि उसी वक्त ही टीम की downfall थोड़ी start हो गई. Asia Cup went badly, then the World Cup went badly, although there were some flashes of individual brilliance. And then the whole Saya controversy where the chairman was basically leaking the captain's personal messages. He was like at war with the team. And then the captaincy changed and the way it happened. And all that created like a rift in the team, which was reflected in the results as well. मैं ये नहीं कह रहा कि Babar should have stayed captain. I think the captaincy change was justified, like it was handled awfully and it had awful consequences. So when all this is taken into account and you look at how the team responded to all this, that wasn't ideal either. मतलब चलो, you know that the PCB are basically clowns as players, you know that. लेकिन जब आप खुद भी उनकी तरह behave करने लग जाते हैं, like the people at the top, when you start um, running agendas, lobbying behind the scenes, bullying people on social media. And I'm referring to both sides here, like both the pro Babar and anti Babar camp. When you start doing all that, when you start creating fissures within, when you start creating divisions within the team, तो आप कैसे एक्सपेक्ट कर सकते हैं कि आप रिजल्ट्स अच्छे ले आएंगे एज अ टीम व्हेन you're not a team anymore? तो in that sense it's not that surprising, but it's extremely disappointing कि सीनियर प्लेयर्स में कोई maturity नहीं दिखी after the change of captaincy, and it keeps getting worse and worse in my opinion. When you like see players that have no desire to rectify their mistakes, that have no desire to improve, and that sets an example for the younger generation as well, like the likes of Abdullah Shafiq or Naseem Shah. So in a way we need a cultural reset in Pakistan cricket, and I'm not sure that the individuals at the top right now, whether Mohsin Naqvi or Babar Azam or Shan Masood or Shaheen Afridi, are the ones who can deliver that. I don't know. I don't think they are, because they've had the chance to reset multiple times in the past year. They've had the chance to leave the past behind, and they never chose to do so. They only cared about themselves first. Like, I know that's a controversial opinion, but that's honestly what I get from the results and their behavior in the past year. So we need a cultural reset. We need the newer generation of players to lead us out of this mess. And for now, they can't change the PCB. They can't change the whole structure. They can't change the management. They can't change the grassroots cricket. But they can do what every cricketer since 1947 has had to do, which is perform against the odds and pull the team out of the hole that the whole system has dug. So that's the only thing that can save us at this point.
वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग, वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग। इमाद, मैं पहले आपकी तरफ जाना चाहता हूँ। आई रियली एंजॉयड लिसनिंग टू तला। इमाद, आपके थॉट्स या क्वेश्चंस इफ यू वांट टू थ्रो टू तला।
Yeah, he hit the nail on the head by talking about the cultural reset that is needed in Pakistan cricket. I totally agree with that. And yeah, the polarization between players and is is a sorry state, to be very honest. And I remember Rehan Haq once saying that this generation of players is such that this generation will never be toxic with each other in public. And while they haven't been overtly toxic with each other in public, there have been a lot of they have shown a lot of signs. This situation साफ पता चल जाती है. And for the first time, I quoted Rihanna Haq so much on this on ARD, but for the first time, I'm very sad to say that Rihanna Haq was not right. So yeah, that's very sad. But I have a question for Tala, which is that you said that since 1947, players have been performing against the odds, and the board always being a huge mess. हमेशा ही mess होता था. Maybe ये जो generation of players है, it has always played in very what would we call it, very calm environments जहाँ पे political stability थी PCB में since 2016, right? This is the PSL generation. Maybe they weren't able to react in the way they should have, because they always worked in very stable environments. And then जब PCB went back to its normalcy, which is PCB of pre 2016, they weren't able to gauge कि क्या करना है, कैसे करना है. And yeah, this is my question.
हाँ, आई थिंक दैट्स अ वैलिड थ्योरी, लेकिन इसमें ये भी कह सकते हैं कि जो स्टेबिलिटी आई थी, it also brought complacency. Players who came up through the ranks and got not the ideal conditions, because the PCB never gives you ideal conditions to become a better player, but got pretty good conditions relative to the past to rise up the ranks to become international um, players of caliber at the international level. But it also led to players not wanting to improve themselves over time, to thinking that they're good enough, that they don't need to do more. So it's a double-edged sword in a way. Because stability was good, but it also brought complacency, and that's where you need like the team culture to be such that players still stay humble and want to keep improving. So again, it's a question of the culture within the organization.
Great point, Reyes. Imad, a really great point. I noted with myself as well. तला आपने बात की एंड आई गेस प्लीज करेक्ट मी आई गेस जब आप प्लेयर्स पे थोड़ा ब्लेम शिफ्ट कर रहे थे ऑफ कोर्स प्लेयर्स आर टू बी ब्लेम्ड परफॉर्मेंस वाइज बात करें या जब कंपटीशन वाइज बात करें डू यू थिंक मेंटल mentally sort out करना खुद को is the bigger blockade या do you think we are of course एक तरह से universal fact है but we have stagnated at technical level as well at so many levels, so how do you see which problem is bigger like performance wise अगर बात because we have seen so many choking हमेशा से देखते आ रहे हैं but I mean there have been so frequent examples एक के बाद एक collapse, so what do you think it is down to?
I'm a psychology student, so I'm a little biased here. uh, so obviously, I would say you need a quality sports psychologist with the team, and you need him to be there for like 10 years. He needs to know the player's mentality very well, and that takes a lot of time. You can't switch the sports psychologist every year or so, and that would help massively, I think, with regards to mentality, with regards to the on-field performance in difficult moments, in clutch moments. It does help a lot. There's a whole field called sports psychology for this reason. And but this goes way beyond that, because as you mentioned, technical level पे भी stagnation आई है, and that's once again related to, I think, just complacency. ये देखना कि rankings में हम इधर टॉप पे आ गए हैं, ये वो अवार्ड मिल गया आईसीसी के, our salaries are much better than the past players, and there was no figure at the top as the coach to rein in the dressing room. As Usman Samiuddin described, Saklan Mushtaq, he was more like a hands-off spiritual guide. So that's not really ideal for a professional sports team. Maybe you can have him as a mentor, but you could have had someone specialist in the head coach role. So I think it's a bit of both mental, both like a psychological and cultural reasons, as well as technical reasons.
Yeah, I had a point about sports
sorry, much
psychology. Yeah, so apparently they had one sports psychologist for the World Cup, but everyone ghosted him. So I think that just comes towards the unfortunate ground realities about Pakistan's culture as a whole in terms of seeing mental health as a stigma, and अगर आपने accept कर लिया आप therapy जा रहे हैं, so that people see that in a very negative way, and very very unfortunately.
And that's not something you can change. The players have the backgrounds that they have, and in either it comes back to what I mentioned about needing a strong figurehead as the coach who can run the dressing room, who can convince the players that you need to do this, that you need this to be better players. And that's where we miss someone like Misbah-ul Haq, who is a local coach who can talk to the players in their own language, who can be close to them as a mentor type figure.
Okay, I think so. We are pretty much done. It was kind of therapy session, whatever you want to do. And I really endorse the concept of therapy. I have personally gone to that process as well, and it is highly recommended. हमारे society में पता नहीं क्यों taboo समझा जाता है, but anyway, some of our players, because मैंने इस वजह से point out की because एक clueless बात है, but some of our players might need to go through, and it is really okay to accept. ठीक है superstar हो because, but still you have to accept the realities. Okay, and I would repeat myself a particular thing. ये मेंस क्रिकेट का रिव्यू था, वुमेन्स क्रिकेट का आपने मीडिया रिव्यू किया था. आई विल ट्राई के इसी वीडियो के डिस्क्रिप्शन में आपको वो लिंक मिल जाए. इस वीडियो को देखने के बाद जाए, इफ यू आर वुमेन्स क्रिकेट फैन, इमीडिएटली जंप बैक टू वुमेन्स के क्रिकेट रिव्यू. वी विल ट्राई के ईयरली रिव्यू भी करें पूरा. We might have different panel and different angles to it. We might have few rapid fire segments as well to make it a more tasty. But we tried this thing. Hopefully, we will you enjoyed it. Please drop your thoughts. किस person के साथ, of course मेरा थोड़ा personal हो गया, but in generic cricket के thoughts को लेते हुए, where your thoughts echo most. Was it Talha? Was it Emad? Was it Emad? Was it myself? So on that note, I wish all the best to our platform, all the best to our other good platforms doing really good for Pakistan cricket, Pakistan sports, and Pakistan in general. So on that note, viewers, Jitran, Samatran, and Allah Hafiz.
Okay, you